parents aren't setting good examples and throwing their kids in front of iPads and phones on top of it, what did anyone think was going to happen? The kids get obsessed with technology. It's almost like a sickness. And we're seeing violent outbursts and attacks on teachers when kids are told, no, you can't do that with the screen here. You can't be on your phone in class.
She just kept me. Give me my phone. Give me my phone. God, wait. Hey. Can I get my phone? Can I get my phone? Can I get my phone? I need my phone.
Over the phone is crazy.
This is out of control. Joining me now is Amala Ekpunobi, PragerU personality, and Dr. Ben Carson, former Trump HUD secretary and founder of the American Cornerstone Institute. Now, Dr. Carson, you're a neurosurgeon, and is there a connection that we can find here between constant screen time, this desire to constantly be connected, and the violent outbursts when that connection is taken away from you?
Well, there are a lot of theories about it. It's something I've been talking about for years because a lot of my patients come in, the parents would say, is it okay if we put them on these medications because of the behavioral problems? And I would say, well, how much time are they spending in front of screens? And usually it was quite a bit. And I would say, let's do an experiment. For the next 3 months, let's decrease the screen time and substitute it with time with you, interacting and reading. Virtually all of them came back and said, we don't need the medication. That in combination with the fact that families are falling apart, the place where children are getting their values is not there anymore. And they don't learn to be forgiving. They learn selfishness. It's all about me, my, and I. And of course, that's going to lead to a lot more conflicts in whatever environment they're found in.
And once again, the breakdown of the family, Amala. And there was a truly disturbing video. I mean, we seem like all we do is see disturbing videos these days. But this is of a student who's brutally beating a teacher's aide. Now, this was just a few months ago. You can see him charging at her right there. He throws her on the ground. He stomps on her. Then he just starts pummeling her. Now, he was 6'6", 270 pounds. He had 3 prior misdemeanor battery charges. And the student says he attacked her because she took his Nintendo Switch. Amala, I mean,
it's just
I've never seen anything like this. I mean, in all my years, I have never seen anything like the fury that is building up in our young people today.
Right. It's just unbelievable to watch some of these videos and recognize that these are children attending school and they're attacking teachers and educators who are not there to deal with this sort of behavior. And when you think about the background of both of these instances, having to deal with technology, think about the effect of technology on the brain. These are children who at home are constantly getting dopamine hits from being on social media, scrolling on their phone, watching YouTube videos. And when they're at school, they're essentially going through withdrawal of not being able to have this technology. And who's to blame? It's going to be the teachers and the educators in front of them who are taking those phones away, rather than the bad parenting that these children are receiving at home and the bad structure that they have in their lives. So as long as we see this behavior continue, you're going to see these behavioral outbursts from young people.
There was a speech therapist recently on social media who was describing how a student, Dr. Carson, she treated was suffering from these violent outbursts. Watch this.
I had a student who was very violent. The second he needed to be off any kind of technology, everything broke down and people got injured. I was talking to the parent and I just said, how much screen time does he get at the house? This kid gets unlimited access to screens while they're not at school. And we know now that screen time is a drug.
Now, Dr. Carson, people kind of look at me funny because I have a 9th grade son and he doesn't have a phone. And I mean, people look at me like, you got to get with the current times. And I'm like, I'm just not doing it. We have enough trouble getting our homework done without the phones. So we just
you're very
decide
smart.
not to have one.
You're very smart because, as we just heard, these addictions, which is actually what they are, similar to what people get from pornography. same kind of release of dopamine, and they get so used to it, and they are always trying to achieve that high. And when you remove their ability to achieve that high, you see a reaction to that, and it's usually a very negative reaction. And the good thing is it can be cured. You have to wean them off of it. It works very effectively, but you have to care. You have to be willing to put the time in. And, you know, this used not to happen because parents were willing to spend time with their children. They played games with them. They went outside. They had fun together. And now we just leave them in front of the screen as soon as they're old enough to sit up. And they get a little older, and we give them the tools to play with.
Exactly. And as Dr. Carson noted, parents themselves don't want to spend the time because the parents are on the phones.
Right. You can't just do this for the sake of convenience anymore. We're going to find that when these children grow up and they start having to, participate in society, that they're not going to have the chops to be able to do it because they've been inundated with technology. Parents need to sacrifice a little bit of convenience here to be with their children and allow them to grow as real children.
Amala, Dr. Carson, great to have your perspectives tonight. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Laura.
All right, breaking news, big breaking news. Biden has finally